don't know it's take two, though.
Oh, now they do.
We got through 20 minutes of our podcast and realized we were not recording through our microphone.
Yeah, wrong mic. It wasn't
mic.
20 minutes. It was like 10.
No, it was like at 19.
No,
it was at
9.
10. Oh,
Yeah,
all right.
9:44. Anyway.
Yeah, well. Harry and I had to pause anyway because we got into an argument. He wasn't close enough to the mic and it was irritating me.
I'm sorry. I'm
You
closer
can't
now.
hear him. And I just like yell into the mic anyway, so.
Ah! Sorry. Maybe we'll cut that out.
No, you're
Okay.
clipping a little. Fancy word. Clipping.
Ooh, yo, audio engineer, yo. Anyway.
Yeah.
Hello,
Hello.
and welcome to Known
Unknowns.
the
Am I supposed to say the
podcast.
second word?
I don't know.
Okay,
It's-
you always go known, unknowns. And I'm like, was I supposed to chime in?
You can. Sometimes I just want to pause for effect. Sometimes, I mean, I'm
Alright.
allowing you to say it if you want, but you don't have to.
Yeah, see, no. You gotta decide. You can't just be
Okay.
like, this is either for effect or so she can jump in.
Well, or you can say it from
Oh my
now on
God.
if
Okay.
you'd like.
I'm Carly.
And I'm Harry, and this is our podcast.
About spooky stuff,
Weird stuff.
mysteries,
The unknown.
I don't know,
Eerie and ghostly.
ghostly
And
stuff like that.
Yep.
Hopefully you know what we're doing by now. Hopefully if you've made it to episode 5, you know what. And if you're listening to this as the first episode, go back. Just saying.
You can just start with this one.
No.
Oh.
Start from the beginning, you weirdo. What?
What if they? Okay.
Okay, fine. Maybe they heard the first 4 were really bad.
Maybe.
Probably right.
Who told them that?
I don't know, me? No, I'm kidding. I'm just kidding. I don't think the first 4 episodes are bad. Anyway,
Okay.
so Harry's gonna go first because he didn't do a lot of research this week.
I did research.
Okay. He did. He did it last minute, and
Well, because
his first topic, he needs more time on, so he last minute switched.
again.
Yeah, again. Anyway.
Okay. Let's get into
Tell him
it.
about it.
Let's get into it.
Okay.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So, Carly, I want you to imagine that you're a spy.
Done.
It's the Cold War.
You know, I really want to be a spy.
Mm-hmm. I
kind of
know.
wish I would have been I tell you this a lot.
Mm-hmm.
I want to be an undercover, spy.
Yeah, you'd be good at it.
But I also don't want to work for, police.
That's true.
So I'm like, what?
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't know.
Yeah.
It's the Cold War.
When was that?
Well, we'll put you in the 1960s,
Oh,
70s, something
Okay.
like that.
mine happened.
80s.
My story happened in 1961.
Oh,
So
my
can this
story
happen in
is.
1961?
It can be happening in this.
Okay.
This little
Happened
intro.
the same year.
1961.
Thank you.
You're a spy in deep cover. You're embedded deep behind enemy lines, somewhere in Eastern Europe.
Somewhere.
Okay, we'll put you in Belarus.
Okay.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
You drive out of town to some secluded area where you won't be noticed.
Fun.
You look at your watch. It's almost time. You take out your shortwave radio.
What's that?
Do
I just pull it out of my pocket?
Sure.
Or
You
do I
had
have it in the back seat of my car?
Yeah, let's say you had it in the back seat of your
so
car.
I
You
whip
had
out
it in-
this huge,
No, it can say
thing.
it can be like a portable radio, like
So it's still
size of
pretty
a
big.
lunchbox.
size of a lunchbox.
I don't know,
Okay,
Yeah,
I just
like
want to
a-
know. You're telling me to imagine this, and I don't
like
know
a
what
weather
this
radio
is.
kind of thing.
Those are small.
Yeah, well, it's a 70s one, so a little bigger.
Okay.
60s, 1961 one.
Yeah, it's 1961.
Okay. All right. You wait. You turn it to the right station. You wait with your code book at the ready. Maybe you got your headphones on or something. Soon, right on time, a voice cuts through the static and sounds like this.
13093. Ready. 2828.
Today, I'm going to talk about numbers stations.
Okay.
If you come across one and don't know what it is, it's going to sound extremely
Creepy. That was creepy.
Yeah, eerie and weird. If you do know what they are and you come across one,
You're a spy.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Or you're that creepy
it's
little
also gonna be...
Austrian boy. Was he Austrian?
Yeah. We haven't gotten there yet.
Okay, sorry. Oh, shoot! We haven't gotten there in this story yet?
No!
Oh, shoot. Oh, sorry. Okay, no, keep going. Sorry, I know some of this because we recorded already.
Anyway, so even if you do know what they are and you listen to it, it's super cool, but it's also still eerie and weird.
It's weird. I'm like, this is creepy.
Yeah. So a numbers station is an unlicensed and untraceable radio station that regularly broadcasts messages, typically made up of a series of seemingly random numbers, sometimes accompanied by other words, tones, or digital noise.
Okay.
It's widely understood and accepted that they're operated by intelligence organizations in order to pass messages to agents operating remotely, though almost no government has ever acknowledged officially that they use or have ever used them before. I think just one Polish foreign minister said once that they used them, but during the Cold War, I think.
And we still use them?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm not 100% sure if the U.S. still does, but I think a bunch of other countries still use them. Mm-hmm. Okay. And they still...
Are you going to get into how people translate these things? Or...
Yeah.
Okay.
I'll get...
Because I'm confused. Okay.
Mm-hmm. Okay. I'll skip ahead. I will skip ahead to that section, and we'll get to the little Austrian boy a little later.
Thank you.
So with the actual broadcast varies station to station, but it basically follows a pretty similar format, no matter where it is. So it's structured like this. So first, there's some kind of identifier to let the listener know who the message is for and or from. So this can come in a number of different forms or combinations of forms. It can be a tone or noise of some kind, like a song, a series of numbers or letters, or just a word like Attention, Achtung, or ready.
Okay.
Ready.
39715.
Second, after that comes some meta info about the coming message, usually the number of number groups that are going to be included, or the page of your one-time pad to use. I'll explain what a one-time pad is.
Yeah, I'm confused.
It's sort of a code book.
Okay.
Used for deciphering it.
6, 6, 4, 7, 5.
And then after that comes the body of the transmission. This is usually given out in groups of 5 digits, sometimes 4 at a time. Sometimes instead of numbers, it's groups of letters. But so it's a long string of numbers given out 5 at a time.
9, 2, 0, 2, 8. 7, 8, 4, 9, 4.
And then, so this part of the transmission is encoded and decoded with a one-time pad, which is a kind of mathematically unbreakable system of encryption that uses an algorithm to make the message indistinguishable from a random string of numbers. Do you want the long or the short explanation?
Short. I don't understand any of this.
Okay, so basically you need 2 copies of this little piece of paper that has random. So basically it's you need to have this code in order to decode the code.
Oh my gosh. Okay.
And so, but you can only use it once, and then you have to destroy it, and then you'll have to use a different key for the next time. That's why it's like unbreakable.
Okay.
Yeah. There's a really cool like explanation I found of like how it works and like how to use encrypt stuff and de-encrypt stuff using that system, but I won't. I'll just link to it somewhere. I won't get into it now. Okay, and then at the end of the transmission, after it gives out the message, it'll just say some version of end or end transmission in whatever language.
End.
What happens if they don't tune in on time?
Well, then you miss it. I mean, generally, usually it's like on a set schedule. What if it's like a few seconds late, though, and you tune in a little bit late and you miss it? Well, yeah. I mean, so it usually repeats itself. So it'll a lot of ones that I was listening to would like repeat like that introduction part like several times for a while, just in case, I guess. And so that you've got it down. And some of them will just like repeat the entire like message more than once. Okay. Or it'll repeat like sections of it. So, yeah, I read on Wikipedia, it said that they usually start on the hour or half hour. But it said after that, it said citation needed. So I don't know if that's how accurate that is.
Cool.
Yeah. So they've been like used by spies and spy agencies for a long time. The first ones were used during the First World War. Shortwave radio wasn't invented yet. It wouldn't be until 1920. So these broadcasts, in the 19-teens, used medium and low frequency signals, and they also used Morse code rather than spoken word. Yeah. So shortwave can travel longer distances than lower frequency ones because you can bounce it off the ionosphere, which is a like electrically charged layer of the atmosphere, so it can go hundreds of miles rather than like past the horizon rather than like 50, which you get. So the reason that we know about these like World War I broadcasts is because of Archduke Anton Habsburg of Austria.
Austrian boy.
Yeah.
Okay.
He was born in like 1901, so he's like a teenager at the time.
What? I thought he was like 7, and I was like, oh, that's kind of nerdy, and now this is just weird.
Yeah, he is.
Oh man.
Yeah, so he was fascinated.
Austrian teen.
Yeah, he was fascinated with like this new radio technology. It's a brand new thing at the time. So he like taught himself Morse code, and since he was a member of the Austrian monarchy, he was able to have like a whole room in their like castle or mansion or whatever dedicated to his radio equipment. And so he would spend time basically every day like listening to the number station transmissions from like different parts of Europe.
Weirdo.
Yeah.
What a life.
And then on his way home from school, like he would call the war office and give the radio operator there what the numbers that he'd recorded.
Why? Who wants these? They hear them too, right?
Yeah, they're listening themselves. So, but I don't know, just because he was a kid and he wanted to help, and he's like a member of the royal family, so you're not going to tell him, hey, buzz off.
Stop. This is weird.
Yeah. You gotta humor him. Anyway,
Yes.
but like, it's good that he was, because otherwise we likely wouldn't have any record of these like existing back then.
He was like the first one to find it.
Yeah, he was like
when
the first.
When he called them, were they like, what are you talking about? And he's like, those numbers that play, do you need anything? Do you need any info on those? And they're like, we don't know what that is. What? Or were they like, okay, I don't know. Were they surprised?
Probably. I would imagine they were surprised.
When did he stop doing it? When he got a girlfriend? Or a friend?
Yeah, is that or when the
is a
war was
weirdo.
over, whichever came first.
The war ended.
Yeah. So like, but yeah, they continued to use them like throughout World War II and like, but you know, after World War One and through World War II, and then like it really like took off. They were like being used by everyone constantly, like throughout the Cold War. That's when it was like at its peak.
Okay.
Like basically, it seems like basically every country that had any kind of like spy program was using number stations up until like they started to drop off in the 90s mostly.
Oh.
But they still exist today.
So now is the perfect time to use them.
Right.
So no one can find them.
Let me see here. So they've been known to intrude on like other frequencies, like even if you're not if you're just listening to the radio and like not listening for it. Like this one time in the 70s, a woman in Andorra, which is that little country between France and Spain.
Okay.
She was a woman in Andorra was listening to the BBC when this woman's voice came in and was just reading off numbers.
I bet so many people heard that.
Probably, but she like wrote a letter to complain about it to to the BBC.
That sounds like my dead grandma. Like, that's something she would have done.
Right.
She would have been like, "This is ridiculous. This is interrupting my listening to BBC." I don't know. She was crazy. Because, you know, she's the one that would call the police if people were speeding on the highway. Yep.
Sounds cool.
Yep. She would. I remember it. You need more cops out here. They're just speeding by me, and I'm going the speed limit. Yeah. It was like every time we were on the highway. Oh, God.
So the BBC like presenter kind of laughed it off and was like, I don't know, said like the big wigs here tell me it's probably just somebody reading off snowfall totals. But since then, like other people have like done more research into it, and other like shortwave enthusiasts have.
This bitch wrote a letter and was like, "This is really obnoxious.
I know.
Don't let it happen again."
Yeah, but so now it's like basically we're pretty sure that it was a number station.
Yeah.
What else? In 2010, I don't know if you remember this. I vaguely do. There was this like.
I don't.
No, okay. There was this like Russian spy ring that was like busted or uncovered in like New Jersey or something, or Pennsylvania, something like that, where they were. You know, it was just a bunch of like Russian spies who were undercover in the U.S. and they had been like communicating or being communicated with via radiograms, which is what like military and intelligence like official stuff calls number stations.
Okay.
So just another example of how they're still in use. And then one last thing, in 2001, for the station that is referred to as Atención, it became the first number station to be officially and publicly accused of broadcasting to spies.
Oh.
It was the first time it was official, I guess. This came out during the trial of the Cuban Five, who were 5 men arrested in 1998 and indicted for conspiracy to commit espionage, conspiracy to commit murder, acting as an agent of a foreign government, and other spy stuff. And so one of the things they were accused of was writing down number codes that they received from Atención, and typing them into laptops to decode them. So the FBI said during the trial that in 1995 they'd got into one of the apartments of the Cuban Five and copied the encryption code from the computer. And then which they used to decode various messages. Some of those were prioritize and continue to strengthen friendship with Joe and Dennis.
What? What? I'm confused.
So these Cuban spies in '98 were arrested. And the FBI got their the software that they used to decode their messages, and so a few of the messages were prioritize.
So this was a message.
Yeah,
Okay.
the Cuban government was telling them to prioritize and continue to strengthen friendship with Joe and Dennis.
Who's Joe and Dennis?
I don't know.
Okay.
Another one's under no circumstances should agents German nor Castor fly with BTTR or another organization on days 24, 25, 26, and 27. And another one, congratulate all the female comrades for International Day of the Woman.
Oh my god, that's funny.
Yeah. So they just send out, little greeting messages for Happy International Women's Day.
I don't know why I find that so funny.
I know, it's
goofy.
Like spy Twitter or something.
Spy Twitter.
Well, not exactly, but it's
That's
more of a
good.
one-way thing. Anyway, so those are numbers stations.
That's all you got?
Yeah, that's what I have.
Not like that was bad. That's good.
Yeah.
Cool. Should we play a little clip again?
Yeah.
Play another clip
We'll
like
edit it
now.
in some
At some
audio.
point. Now. It's gonna go now.
Yankee, Hotel, Foxtrot. Yankee, Hotel, Foxtrot. Group 1, 0. Group 1, 0. Text.
All right, I'm gonna go now.
Okay.
Okay.
What do you have?
Oh, something real good.
Oh, good.
I have the story of Barney and Betty Hill.
Ooh. Who are they?
That's all I got. No,
Oh, no. Just
that's it. You guys
Barney
should know.
and Betty.
Barney and Betty. First of all, cute names. That's cute. Anyway, okay. It was the first widely publicized report of an alien abduction in the United States. It was in New Hampshire from September 19th to September 20th, 1961.
1961. Cool.
So it's like the first.
Same year you were a spy.
Yes, that's what we discussed
Yeah, I know.
already. Crazy. How I was, yeah.
What a coincidence.
Yeah, what a coinky dink. Okay. So, the UFO sighting happened on September 19th, 1961, around 10:30 p.m. The Hills were driving back to Portsmouth? What is it?
Portsmouth.
Portsmouth, from a vacation in Niagara Falls and Montreal. Cool. Just south of Lancaster, New Hampshire, Betty claimed to have observed a bright point of light in the sky that moved from below the moon and the planet Jupiter, upward to the west of the moon. Betty reasoned that she was observing a falling star, only it moved upward. Yeah, that's what she was trying to tell herself. Since it moved erratically and grew bigger and brighter, Betty urged Barney to stop the car for a closer look, as well as to walk their dog, Delcy. There's actually you can see a little portrait, like a family portrait of the two of them with their dog, and it's really cute.
This is giving me strong Lovecraft vibes. H.P. Lovecraft. It's like this reminds me of the Color Out of Space, one of his.
Okay.
Sorry.
There's a lot of now TV shows, movies, books like inspired by this story and by them. Is that possible?
No.
Is it earlier?
Yeah. Because
they also say, actually it might be in here. A couple people are like, this story sounds oddly familiar.
Yeah.
And it's like about, and then they're like, oh, did you pull it from this show? Anyway, all right, I'll continue. I was trying to say, okay, continue. But it's me.
You continue.
Sorry. Okay, Barney stopped at a scenic picnic area just south of Twin Mountain. Betty, looking through binoculars, observed an odd-shaped craft flashing multiple colored lights travel across the face of the moon. Because her sister had several years earlier said she had seen a flying saucer, Betty thought it might be what she was observing. Through binoculars, Barney observed what he reasoned was a commercial airliner traveling through Vermont. However, he soon changed his mind because without looking as if it had turned, the craft rapidly descended in his direction. The observation caused Barney to realize this object was not a plane. I don't know. They quickly returned to the car and drove toward Franconia Notch.
Okay.
A narrow, mountainous stretch of the road.
Oh.
The Hills claimed that they continued driving on the isolated road, moving very slowly through Franconia Notch in order to observe the object as it came even closer. Betty testified that it was at least 1.5 times the length of the granite cliff profile, which was 40 feet long, and that it seemed to be rotating. The couple watched as the silent, illuminated craft moved erratically and bounced back and forth in the night sky. Approximately 1 mile south of Indian Head, that's what this place is called.
Okay.
Should I not have said that?
No, you can call it by its name.
Okay. They said the object rapidly descended toward their vehicle, causing Barney to stop in the middle of the highway. The huge silent craft hovered approximately 80 to 100 feet above the Hills' car and filled the entire field of view in the windshield. It reminded Barney of a huge pancake.
Barney's just hungry.
I know.
He's been on the road.
That looks like a pancake. Okay, carrying his pistol in his pocket.
Oh.
Yeah, he stepped away from the vehicle and moved closer to the object. Using the binoculars, Barney claimed to have seen about 8 to 11 humanoid figures.
Inside the pancake?
Yeah, inside the pancake.
Oh.
Who were peering out of the craft's windows.
Okay, I was about to ask.
I was picturing Kraft cheese pancakes.
Kraft pancakes.
That's not funny, but
What?
I think it is. Because the Kraft. I thought Kraft cheese. Okay. Okay. Whew. Let me start over. Barney claimed to have seen about 8 to 11 humanoid figures who were peering out of the pancake windows, seeming to look at him. In unison, all but one figure moved to what appeared to be a panel on the rear wall of the hallway that encircled the front portion of the craft. The one remaining figure continued to look at Barney and communicated a message telling him to, quote, stay where you are and keep looking, unquote.
How did he communicate it?
Through the mind.
Oh, okay.
Telepathically, is that how you would say that?
Mm-hmm.
Barney had a recollection of observing the humanoid forms wearing glossy black uniforms and black caps. Red lights on what appeared to be a bat wing fins. What appeared to be Okay. What? Red lights on what appeared to be a bat wing fins began to telescope out of the side of the craft. Oh, okay. Mothman? Oh, shit.
Red eyes, bat wings.
Red eyes, bat wings, Mothman. The silent craft approached to what Barney estimated was within 50 to 80 feet overhead and 300 feet away from him. On October 21st, 1961, Barney reported to National Investigations Committee on Aerial Phenomena, NICAP, investigator Walter Webb, Kneecap. That's what I'm going to start calling it, Kneecap. Walter Webb, that the beings were somehow not human. Barney tore the binoculars away from his eyes and ran back to the car in a near hysterical state.
They told him to keep looking and stay still.
I know, that was the mistake.
Oh.
Okay? And he told Betty, they're going to capture us. He saw the object again shift its location to directly above the vehicle. He drove away at high speed, telling Betty to look for the object. Well, obviously it can move faster than them.
Why even
try? It can just appear in places. It doesn't even need to move, guys. Just listen to what they say.
How does he know they're trying to capture him? It just said, stay there and keep watching. Maybe I wanted to talk to him.
Yeah, maybe they just wanted to talk. She rolled down the window and looked up. Almost immediately, the Hills heard a rhythmic series of beeping or buzzing sounds. Number stations. They heard the number stations. Okay. Which they said seemed to bounce off the trunk of their vehicle. The car vibrated, and a tingling sensation passed through the Hills' bodies. The Hills said that then they experienced the onset of an altered state of consciousness that left their minds dulled. A second series of beeping or buzzing sounds returned the couple to full consciousness. They found that they had traveled nearly 35 miles south, but had only vague, spotty memories of the section of road. They recalled making a sudden, unplanned turn, encountering a roadblock, and observing a fiery orb in the road. Okay. So, immediate aftermath. Arriving home at about dawn, the Hills assert that they had some odd sensations and impulses they could not readily explain. Betty insisted their luggage be kept near the back door rather than the main part of the house. Their watches would never work again, so they got back, realized their watches weren't working, and then they couldn't get them to work again.
Oh.
Creepy. Barney said that the leather strap for the binoculars was torn, though he could not recall it tearing. He doesn't really remember using... Yeah. The toes of his best dress shoes were scraped. Barney said that he was compelled to examine his genitals in the bathroom, though he found nothing unusual.
Oh, he just wanted to...
He was compelled, Harry, to inspect his genitals. They took long showers to remove possible contamination, and each drew a picture of what they had observed. Perplexed, the Hills say they tried to reconstruct the chronology of events as they witnessed the UFO and drove home, but immediately after they heard the buzzing sounds, their memories became incomplete and fragmented. After sleeping for a few hours, Betty awoke and placed the shoes and clothing she had worn during the drive into her closet, observing that the dress was torn at the hem, zipper, and lining. Later, when she retrieved the items from her closet, she noticed a pinkish powder on her dress. She hung the dress on her clothesline and the pink powder blew away, but the dress was irreparably damaged. She threw it away, but then changed her mind, retrieving the dress and hanging it in her closet. Over the years, 5 laboratories have conducted chemical and forensic analysis on the dress. I have no other information about that.
Okay, don't know if they found or not found anything.
Sorry if you hear this weird noise. I'm drinking out of my water bottle that makes a funny, screeching noise. Anyway, there were... Oh, no. There were shiny, concentric... Why do I write words that I don't know? Why do I copy and paste words that I don't know? Okay, circles on their car's trunks. On their car's trunk that had not been there the previous day. Wow. Betty and Barney experimented with a compass, noting that when they moved it close to the spots, the needle would whirl rapidly. But then they moved it a few inches away from the shiny spots, it would drop down. A few days later, they reported their odd experience to the U.S. Air Force and NECAP.
Okay.
Yeah.
And did they have anything to say about it?
Yeah, we'll get into that.
Oh, okay.
A little bit. It was a lot of boring stuff that I was just like, they were like, that's not true. And then some people were like, yeah, that's probably true. And I don't know, it was just lame. Anyway, alright, so this is about Betty's dreams. There was a whole bunch of information about it, but I didn't really want to get into it because I didn't really care.
Okay.
But it kind of comes in later, so I'm gonna just mention it. So, 10 days after the alleged UFO encounter, Betty began having a series of vivid dreams. They continued for 5 successive nights. Never in her memory had she recalled dreams in such detail and intensity, but they stopped abruptly after 5 nights and never returned. They occupied her thoughts during the day. When she finally did mention them to Barney, he was sympathetic but not too concerned, and the matter was dropped. Betty did not mention them to Barney again. I found a lot of information about what the dreams were about, and it was basically just creatures abducting her.
Sure.
So I was like, okay. There's more interesting information to get into than her dreams. Okay. Because I'm okay.
Okay, well, we can move on.
Okay. So, on November 25th, 1961, the Hills were interviewed at length by NECAP members.
Okay.
although the Hills had noted that they had arrived home later than anticipated, the drive should have taken about 4 hours. They claimed not to have realized that they had arrived home 7 hours after their departure from Colebrook. So it should have only taken them 4, It took them 7. When the kneecap members noted that the discrepancy... When the kneecap members noted this discrepancy to the Hills, the couple had no explanation, a phenomenon ufologists call missing time.
Mm-hmm.
The Hills claim to recall almost nothing of the 35 miles of U.S. Route 3 between Lincoln/Indian Head and Ashland. Both claim to recall an image of a fiery orb sitting on the ground. Betty and Barney reasoned that it must have been the moon. The kneecap informed them that the moon had set earlier in the evening. The subject of hypnosis came up, and it was decided that it should be carried out in order to elicit previously irretrievable memories. Barney was apprehensive about hypnosis, but thought it might help Betty put to rest what Barney described as, quote, the nonsense about her dreams, unquote. I thought he appeared sympathetic.
Well, he was at first.
By February 1962, the Hills were making frequent weekend drives to the White Mountains, hoping that revisiting the site might spark more memories.
And it sounds just pretty.
Yeah.
So
here's information about the hypnosis sessions.
Okay.
So Benjamin Simon began hypnotizing the Hills on January 4th, 1964. He hypnotized Betty and Barney several times each, and the sessions lasted until June 6th, 1964. Simon conducted the sessions on Barney and Betty separately, so they could not overhear one another's recollections. At the end of each session, he reinstated amnesia.
Why? Why not let them keep remember? Why reinstate amnesia?
I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know. So
I'm not a hypnotist.
So Barney's sessions.
Yeah.
Because that's probably traumatizing.
Okay, I guess.
It's traumatizing to know.
Yeah,
okay.
I guess
Barney's sessions. Simon hypnotized Barney first. His recall of witnessing non-human figures was quite emotional, punctuated with expressions of fear, emotional outbursts, and
incredulity?
Yeah. Barney said that due to his fear, he kept his eyes closed for most of the abduction and physical examination. Based on these early responses, Simon told Barney that he would not remember the hypnosis sessions until he was certain he could remember them without being further traumatized. Under hypnosis, as was consistent with his conscious recall, Barney reported that the binocular strap had broken when he ran from the UFO back to his car. He recalled driving the car away from the UFO, but that afterwards he felt irresistibly compelled to pull off the road and drive into the woods. He eventually sighted 6 men standing in the dirt road.
Okay.
The car stalled and 3 of the men approached the car. They told Barney to not fear them. He was still anxious, however. And he reported that the leader told Barney to close his eyes. While hypnotized, Barney said, I felt like the eyes had pushed into my eyes. Barney described the beings as generally similar to Betty's hypnotic, not dream, recollection. So Betty's hypnotic recollection. The beings often stared into his eyes, said Barney, with a terrifying, mesmerizing effect. Under hypnosis, Barney said things like, oh, those eyes, they're there in my brain, from his first hypnosis session, and I was told to close my eyes because I saw 2 eyes coming close to mine and I felt like the eyes had pushed into my eyes. And that was from his second hypnosis session. And his third hypnosis session, all I see are these eyes. I'm not even afraid that they're not connected to a body. They're just there. They're just up close to me, pressing against my eyes. Aye. Barney related that he and Betty were taken into a disc-shaped craft, the pancake, where they were separated. He was escorted to a room by 3 of the men and told to lie on a small rectangular exam table. Unlike Betty, Barney's narrative of the exam was less detailed, as he continued to keep his eyes closed for most of the exam. A cup-like device was placed over his genitals.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, that's why he had a weird, like, maybe I should check that.
Mm-hmm.
He did not experience an orgasm, though Barney thought that a sperm sample had been taken.
Okay.
Okay. The men scraped his skin and peered in his ears and mouth. A thin tube...
Peered, not peed. Okay.
Did I say peed?
No, you said peered. I just heard wrong.
Sorry, okay.
No.
A thin tube or cylinder was inserted into his anus. See, I copy and pasted this. I would never say anus. And quickly removed. Someone felt his spine and seemed to be counting the vertebrae. The vertebrae.
Okay.
Betty reported a conversation with the leader that she understood in English. Barney said that he heard them speaking in a mumbling language that he did not understand.
Interesting.
Mm-hmm. Yet he also understood them in English. What?
Oh, okay. Well.
Betty also mentioned this detail. The few times they communicated with him, Barney said it seemed to be thought transference.
So they were... Okay.
At
So
that
they were
time.
speaking out loud in a different language, but he was like hearing them in his brain in English.
Yeah. So he was unfamiliar with the word telepathy at that time.
Okay.
Both Betty and Barney stated that they hadn't observed the beings' mouths moving when they communicated in English with them. He recalled being escorted from the ship and taken to his car. In a daze, he watched the ship leave. Barney remembered a light appearing on the road, and he said, "Oh no, not again." He recalled Betty's speculation that the light might have been the moon, though the moon had set several hours earlier. He also stated that he attempted to produce the code-like buzzing sounds which seemed to strike the car's trunk a second time by driving from side to side and stopping and starting the vehicle. His attempt was unsuccessful. So that was Barney Sessions.
Okay. It's interesting.
Yeah. So Betty's sessions.
Okay. What happened to her?
Okay. Under hypnosis, Betty's account was similar to the events of her 5 dreams about the UFO abduction, but there were also notable differences, mainly pertaining to her capture and release. The technology on the craft was different. The short men had a significantly different physical appearance from that of her dreams, and the sequential order of the abduction event was also different from Betty's dream account.
Mm-hmm.
Barney's and Betty's memories in hypnotic regression were consistent with one another, but contradicted some of the information in Betty's dreams. That's why I'm like, I don't care. Like, I don't know. Like, who cares? I don't know. I'm just like, her dreams could have been like her remembering the stuff, but dreams don't have to be exact, like, recounts of what happened. You know? Like,
yeah,
no.
it's definitely, yeah.
So I'm just like, okay, yeah, that would make sense.
I trust the hypnosis more than the dream account. Not that I trust...
Shut up. Betty exhibited considerable emotional distress during her capture and examination. Simon ended one session early because tears were flowing down her cheeks and she appeared distressed. Simon gave Betty the post-hypnotic suggestion that she should sketch a copy of the star map that she later described as a 3-dimensional projection similar to a hologram. I think they gave her this. They, like, gave her a map of the universe.
Oh. Why? Okay.
Because they were like,
she needs it.
Yeah, I remember reading, like, she would walk around, like, at first they were like, oh, here's our ship, here's a map of the universe, like, here's everything we're doing, and then she asked some weird question, and then they got a little angry, and then they took away the map, and they were like, just get on the table.
Very weird that they gave her and
well,
her
they
husband...
wanted to be nice, and then, like,
why
they
weren't
did something
nice
mean
to the husband.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah.
Because these aliens hate toxic masculinity.
Yeah. Eventually, she did what Simon suggested. Although she said the map had many stars, she drew only that stood out in her memory. Her map consisted of 12 prominent stars connected by lines and 3 lesser ones that formed a distinctive triangle. She said she was told the stars connected by solid lines formed trade routes, whereas dashed lines were to less traveled stars.
Oh.
So they traveled to, like, stars and stuff. So that wasn't that much. I must have, like, really cut out a lot of her session because I don't have a lot there,
Oh, well,
which is weird.
I mean,
But I
well,
don't think it's
we
very
heard about it.
necessary.
during your section on Hank, what is it? Whatever his
Barney.
name is. Barney's.
Were you gonna say Hank?
Yeah,
His name is not Hank.
I know.
It's Barney.
Not Hank Hill.
I don't know. Now I feel like I want to know more about this. Really, they were just they don't really, like, they were
Yeah,
abducted by these alien-like creatures. You heard what they kind of looked like
Right.
and what they wore, and then they, like, did tests on them, like, took skin samples, poked and prodded them, stuff like
what
that.
did they wear? Yeah.
What?
What did they wear?
Like, shiny black suits or
Oh,
something, like shiny
okay.
black
Yeah.
outfits with, like, black hats or something like that.
Snazzy.
Yeah. Okay, so Simon, the
Hypnotist.
hypnotist, his conclusions.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Let's see
let's see
if
what
it's,
he thinks. After
A
the
man of science.
Don't make fun of him. After the hypnosis session, Simon speculated that Barney's recollection of the UFO encounter was possibly a fantasy inspired by Betty's dreams. Simon thought that it was most reasonable and it was the most reasonable and consistent explanation.
I agree.
Yeah. Barney rejected this idea, noting that while their memories were consistent in some regards, there were also portions of both of their narratives that were unique to each. Barney was now ready to accept that they had been abducted by the occupants of the UFO, though he never embraced it fully as Betty did.
Okay.
Though the Hills and Simon disagreed about the nature of the case, they all concurred that the hypnosis sessions were effective. The Hills were no longer tormented by anxiety about their experience.
Oh, he says that.
Yeah. Afterwards, Simon wrote an article about the Hills for the journal Psychiatric Opinion, explaining his conclusions that the case was a singular psychological aberration. So.
Okay.
Yeah.
Just.
So basically, not even the hypnotist believes them.
Well.
I'm just like, that's sad. I think it happened. I, like, kind of believe them.
Okay.
I don't know, like, the dreams are weird. I don't know why they're talking so much about the dreams, why there's so much stuff put into that, but whatever. Okay, so publicity after the hypnosis sessions.
Okay.
The Hills went back to their regular lives. They were willing to discuss the alleged UFO encounter with friends, family, and the occasional UFO researcher, but the Hills apparently made no effort to seek publicity. Later in life, Betty claimed to have seen UFOs a number of times after her initial abduction, and she became a celebrity in the UFO community.
So eventually she started to...
Barney died of a cerebral hemorrhage on February 25th, 1969 at age 46. Yeah. Betty Hill died of cancer on October 17th, 2004 at age 85, never having remarried. Cute. But sad.
Didn't find a nice alien.
Didn't find a nice alien. Let me get down to the... Okay. So this part you'll love.
Yay!
What's that word?
Refutations?
Refutations.
Refutations.
Refutations. You'll love this.
Yes.
Okay. Which I'm sure you'll agree with all of them.
No, probably not.
Okay. Psychiatrists later suggested that the supposed abduction was a hallucination brought on by the stress of being an interracial couple in early 1960s United States. Yeah, I forgot to mention that. The woman was white, the man was black.
Oh, okay.
The reason they were traveling such a far distance without stopping, they were like driving through the night, is because on that stretch there were no safe places for a black person to stop on the road, like according to the Green Book. Wasn't it the Green Book? There wasn't a safe place for them to stop.
I see.
So they had to keep driving.
Makes sense.
Unfortunately.
And
that was, I should have,
right.
I think I planned on mentioning it in this portion. And that's another reason why Barney was so, like, weird about not really wanting to talk to people about it. He was like, well, people already kind of they don't like me, so I don't really want to make people think I'm crazier. Like, he was like, let's just not draw attention to ourselves. We're already an interracial couple and no one likes us.
It also kind of, for me, it makes sense why they're like, why their experiences on the aircraft are different. Why, like, he was just
Like, they were really nice to her.
Yeah, so like so for her, she thinks that like people need like a good reason to be that like her being them like mistreating her and stuff had to be triggered by like something that she did. Whereas for like him, it just seems more like more normal that they would just automatically go into like poking and prodding him and they're
so if you're saying this is fake,
yeah, if I'm
like,
saying I'm saying that if they like made it up or if
so she was like, they were really nice to me until I said something really mean, and then they started poking and prodding me, and then the guy was like, they just kind of took me and started poking and prodding me.
Because she comes from a world where like,
I mean, she was also a woman in the 60s.
Yeah, I know.
But still, like, yeah. No, that's, I know. Yeah. That doesn't, people aren't trying to kill her every day because she's a white woman. She's still a white woman. And he is a black man.
Right.
So, yeah. So that's a whole thing about it. So they think it was a hallucination. I don't think it was a hallucination brought on by the stress of being an interracial couple.
Yeah.
That seems weird. I'm like,
weird to me.
Betty discounted this suggestion, noting that her relationship with Barney was happy, and their interracial marriage caused no notable problems with their friends or family. As noted, the interrupted journey. As noted in The Interrupted Journey, that must be like a documentary, Simon thought that the Hills' marital status had nothing to do with the UFO encounter.
Okay.
So the hypnotist was like, no.
Yeah.
So, skeptic blogger Brian Dunning noted that the
skeptic blogger sounds like
that's what you should do. You should be a skeptic blogger.
That doesn't sound like a label that I want.
Yeah.
I can't imagine that anyone with that title is a fun person to be around. Skeptic and blogger.
Yeah. So one of the theories was also just like they were so sleep deprived. I might have this in here. I might have that in here. But I remember it being like they were so sleep deprived.
Right.
That they just don't remember getting home. Like they were just in and out of like, oh crap.
Yeah, that could.
Maybe they stopped on the side of the road to sleep or something. I don't know.
Yeah, that could be. That makes some sense to me.
Yeah. Okay, so the skeptic blogger noted that the hypnosis sessions occurred over 2 years after the reported abductions, which afforded the couple plenty of time to discuss their encounter. Dunning concluded that the Hills' inventive tale from the mind of a lifelong UFO fanatic is unsupported by any useful evidence and is perfectly consistent with the purely natural explanation.
Okay, so which one was the UFO fanatic beforehand? Before
Betty.
This? Betty. Okay.
Because her sister had said she saw a UFO before that, so she was already kind of interested in it. And then later on in life, she's like, actually, I've seen a lot of UFOs.
I'm always skeptical of. I'm skeptical
if
of all of them.
I were to see a UFO, you'd be like, well, Carly,
well, it just seems
really into
like
that,
people who are interested in UFOs see them a lot more often than people who are less interested. I really
hope you get abducted one day.
Rude, but okay.
Yeah, I hope you do.
Do you hope they bring me back? Or
maybe not. If that'll teach you a lesson to not be brought back.
Well, what's the point at that point?
Okay, fine. I want you to come back. Jesus, is that what you want to hear?
Yes.
Of course,
I'd rather hear that
you
don't want me to be abducted. But
no, of course I want you to be abducted and then brought back.
Fine.
Okay.
Go on.
Okay. He added that a timeline analysis of the 2 Air Force radar sightings from the night of the Project Blue Book record shows that neither correlated with the Hills' story. The Air Force concluded that both targets were probably weather balloons. So they didn't see anything in the sky.
Oh, okay. So wait, but
I don't know.
Okay.
So
it said that so there was stuff on the radar, but it was probably weather balloons.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Makes sense to me. They probably saw the weather balloons.
Mm-hmm. In his 1990 article, entirely unpredisputable predisposed. Oh my god.
Unpredisposed.
Whew. Yeah. Martin Kottmeyer, this is a different guy, suggested that Barney's memories revealed under hypnosis might have been influenced by an episode of the science fiction television show The Outer Limits. Is that what you said before?
No.
Okay. Titled The Bolero Shield. Is that how you say that? Bolero Shield?
Probably.
Okay. Which was broadcast about 2 weeks before Barney's first hypnotic session.
Okay, yeah.
The episode featured an extraterrestrial with large eyes who says, "In all the universes, in all the unities beyond the universes, all who have eyes that speak." The report from the regression featured a scenario that was in some respects similar to the television show.
Okay, that sounds... Okay, yeah, that sounds likely.
When a different researcher asked Betty about the Outer Limits, she insisted she had never heard of it. Kottmeyer also pointed out that some motifs in the Hills' accounts were present in the 1953 film Invaders from Mars. A careful analysis of Barney's description of the non-human entities that he observed revealed significant similarities between the Bifrost Man and Barney's descriptive details. One must also take into account Barney's conscious, continuous recall of the entities he observed on the hovering craft. They were dressed in black, shiny uniforms and were somehow not human.
Yeah, so I don't believe her that she's never heard of The Outer Limits or seen that movie. I don't think that there are any like UFO fans who are also not interested in sci-fi. I've never heard of that.
I mean, I probably wouldn't watch it.
Yeah.
I'm not that interested.
Yeah, but you would have.
Okay. Jim McDonald, a resident in the area in which the Hills claim to have been abducted, has produced a detailed analysis of their journey which includes that the episode was provoked by their misperceiving an aircraft warning beacon at Cannon Mountain as a UFO. McDonald notes that from the road the Hills took, the beacon appears and disappears at exactly the same time the Hills describe the UFO as appearing and disappearing.
Well, then, yeah, that's what that was.
The remainder of the experience is ascribed to stress, sleep deprivation, and false memories recovered under hypnosis. After reading McDonald's recreation, UFO expert Robert Schaefer writes that the Hills are the poster children for not driving when sleep deprived. McDonald's article focuses primarily on the Hills' observations of the light in the sky and the timing of the journey, discounting the Hills' accounts of close encounters south of Cannon Mountain as recovered memories. Skeptical Inquirer columnist Robert Schaefer wrote the following. I was present at the National UFO Conference in New York City in 1980, at which Betty presented some of the UFO photos she had taken. She showed what must have been well over 200 slides, mostly of blips, blurs, and blobs against a black background. These were supposed to be UFOs coming in close, chasing her car, landing, etc. After her talk had exceeded about twice its allotted time, Betty was literally jeered off the stage by what had been at first a very sympathetic audience. This incident, witnessed by many of the ufologies leaders and top activists, removed any lingering doubts about Betty's... The incident, witnessed by many of ufology's leaders and top activists, removed any lingering doubts about Betty's credibility. She had none. In 1995, Betty Hill wrote a self-published book called A Common Sense Approach to UFOs. It is filled with obviously delusional stories such as seeing entire squadrons of UFOs in flight and a truck levitating above the freeway. She's older now, though. So she's going a little crazy. Schaefer wrote that as late as 1977, Betty Hill would go on UFO vigils at least 3 times a week. During one evening, she was joined by UFO enthusiast John Oswald. When asked about Betty's continuing UFO observations, Oswald stated, quote, "She is not really seeing UFOs, but she is calling them that." On the night they went out together, quote, "Mrs. Hill was unable to distinguish between a landed UFO and a streetlight," unquote. In a later interview, Schaefer recounts that Betty Hill wrote, quote, "UFOs are a new scene, and our science cannot explain them."
It's sad. It sounds like...
And then later she went on and said, actually, that encounter wasn't my first encounter with UFOs.
Mm-hmm.
She's like, I've actually been visited by aliens a lot.
Yeah. It sounds like me. I mean, I don't know, something happened that they both kind of believed in. She was maybe a little bit weird before her husband died, and then he died unexpectedly.
I was
and
gonna
it
say, I bet her
kind of broke her
craziness-
brain.
Yeah. I mean, poor woman. He died at like 46.
Yeah.
Sad.
It is
She
sad.
lived over 40 years without him.
It's
40,
sad.
50-ish
Mhm.
years without him. So what else is she supposed to do?
I don't know.
Yeah, so that's the story of Betty and Barney Hill.
You still believe it though?
Kinda. I don't know.
Most of those debunkings sound pretty logical and credible to me.
Yeah, but like,
The
I just kind
guy-
of want to believe it.
Yeah,
It could have happened. Yeah, but what about them getting back and all their clothes being torn? I don't think, like, some of the stuff is just weird.
I think maybe something weird happened. I don't know what I think. I don't know.
Because that's all weird.
I don't know if I think
they just, like,
anything
came up with
actually
it.
happened. Maybe something else weird happened that like she interpreted as a UFO thing and maybe convinced him was one as well. I don't know.
I don't know either. But they were both like, yeah, we were abducted by aliens. This is what we saw.
Yeah. I mean, maybe he was kind of wacky too. And so he would believe. I don't know. Something strange maybe happened, but I don't think it was a UFO thing.
Mm-hmm. I don't know. I think I believe it.
Okay.
Because I want to.
Yeah. Well, that's as good a reason as any.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's all I got.
Okay. That's all I got as well.
Cool.
Yeah. Do we have anything else to talk about?
No.
No? Nothing else?
I don't think so.
Okay, yeah, I don't think so either.
We thank everyone enough.
Yep. Thank you again.
Thanks.
Thanks for listening.
Yeah, thanks for rating. A lot of people
Mhm.
rated us on iTunes, which was really nice.
Yeah.
It was
Yeah.
like, yay! And all 5 stars, so thank you.
Thank you for saying you like us.
Yeah, seriously. For reals. Yeah, if you have any cool stories, email us, message us,
Mm-hmm.
all that good stuff.
Yeah.
I think that's all we got.
Okay.
Yeah. So
Well-
until next Monday,
I've been Harry,
and I'm still Carly.
and this has been
Known Unknowns.
Have a nice day.
Because it's weird out there. Okay.